On August 30th, 2024, Wunderhorse released Midas, the second album for the English band and their first to feature creative input from every member. About a week later, they were in the States to perform two quick shows, one in Chicago and one in New York City, giving American audiences a rare glimpse of what they can expect when the band returns for a true North American tour early next year. I was incredibly lucky to be a part of one of those small audiences in Brooklyn, and just before the show, I sat down with drummer Jamie Staples to talk about it all. With the first of these two shows in the rear view for Wunderhorse, I had to open by asking how the band was feeling on the cusp of night two.
Yeah, Chicago was great. I think it was a bit of like a radio competition thing. I'm not too sure, but as in for the people who got tickets for it. But it was cool. We enjoyed it. Yeah, we played a place called Reggie's, and I think, pretty much sold it out. And then tonight, I think, is playing a place called Union Pool, which I don't know what we're expecting different tonight. Maybe a slightly younger crowd. I don't know. The crowd in Chicago is like a radio crowd, whatever that might be. I don't know. But
radio listeners.
But yeah, like we all really love coming to New York in particular. Chicago's great too, but so I think tonight we're just hoping to have a lot of fun, really.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I wonder if New York will be like more of an accurate representation of like the typical turnout you can expect, when you come back.
Yeah.
You've expressed that since the last Wunderhorse album was very much a solo project from Jacob, Midas has felt kind of more like an album, like a first album for the group rather than a second album. So has it felt more gratifying to be playing these new songs live since the rest of the band had like more of a hand in this album's conception?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think part of us becoming a band in the first place was probably slightly reinvigorating some of the Cub songs in a live format anyway. The way, particularly when Harry joined, and the way we started playing those songs, which, as you say, we're from a period of time where it was kind of a solo project, but we started to play them like a band. And then I think that just like naturally, when it came to doing the next record, we felt like things were aligned in a way with us where we were able to approach this second record as a band. And not least of all because a lot of the songs came about during the recording process. So, which meant that it was just all hands on deck, really. We were all there chipping in,
Yeah. Now, I know it's hard sometimes coming off of a release to figure, I think a common challenge is sometimes to figure out how to play some of those songs in a live setting. But this album, as I understand it, was largely recorded live.
Yeah.
So do you find that you're still figuring out like the best ways to perform these songs, or did you guys like really come out of the studio kind of just knowing how you wanted them to be?
Yeah, I think like you said, just the way we did it kind of lended itself to a live thing anyway. So not loads has changed, but then we started playing some of those songs immediately, really, as soon as we recorded them. So when we started gigging. And I think there's naturally live, we like to keep a slight element of the unexpected in our live show. So I think there's, room for for us to mess around with our parts, or even some of the sections sometimes, extend them, or maybe even have like, we might play around the chords of a song before going into it and things like that, and just kind of just have fun with it. So in that sense, we reinvent them every night, But I think at their core, they're just kind of live tunes as they were recorded.
Yeah. Okay. And speaking of which, I think you said before that you're all just happy to play, whatever you think is a good song that you've created. And I know the album hasn't been out for very long, but are there any songs from it that you still have yet to play live, or have you pretty much done them all in front of audiences?
We've done them all. Okay. Yeah, we've played all of them at one. We've never played all of them in one night, but since recording the records, we've played all of them several times in a live setting. Yeah, wherever seems appropriate.
And I'm assuming that, every time you play them, you just become that much more comfortable. And so have there been any songs that have like taken almost more complex shape since originally recording them that you find like when you're playing them in front of an audience?
Slightly, yeah. I mean, I think there's, like I was saying, there's certain songs that we will, particularly at the start or the end of them,
Mm.
they will maybe sprawl into something else, or at the beginning we might float around the chords and jam for a little bit and find a way between ourselves to go into the song, or maybe more towards the end we might elongate slightly or do sort of mess it up a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah, I would say that we do have fun with them, definitely. So, we try not to, not just for the audience, but for our own sanity, not play the same show every night.
And this is actually more of a question like for you directly. I was reading an old interview. I think it was when you guys were in the US touring the first album, so it was a couple years ago. I believe that was your first time in America ever. Is that right?
No, I mean, I had been to New York once
Okay.
when I was 20, early 20s, but everywhere other than New York, and we went to a lot of places, was absolutely my first time. And I don't think New York, as amazing as it is, I mean, it's actually my favorite place, but I think you're not necessarily really experiencing America by coming to New York. So I think there was a lot of other places we went to where it was just very interesting for me, for sure.
Yeah. I was just going to ask, what is it like? You kind of touched on it a little bit, but what is it like having a relationship with a country that's really largely centered around just playing music across it?
Well, it's great, man. I mean, it's obviously just an absolute beast. I mean, there's so many places where people haven't got a bloody clue who we are, and we've got a lot of work to do. But I really relish going to new places, and all of our favorite places to gig, even in the UK, are, I think, where people just let themselves go a bit and just really just love music. I mean, I could say that for the north of England, and I'm sure you could probably tell me about certain states in America where the love for music can be felt a bit more. They'll go and see anyone and just like let go a little bit. I don't know if I could say what those are right now. I haven't experienced enough of it, but we love coming here and going to other places in Europe, and just as long as if I think if the crowd's having a good time and there's a good vibe about it, we have a great time basically.
Awesome. That's great, man. So a huge challenge for bands oftentimes, I think, when not playing music full time, which I guess is most bands, is just kind of balancing it with the rest of your life. I know that each of you, have your jobs and things like that. I know you do building and landscaping when you aren't drumming, but I understand, I think I was reading something else, you're trying to get away from it. Is doing music full time kind of like the goal for each of you, would you say?
Yeah, it's always been for me for the last 10 years. And there's even been periods in my life where it has been full time. I mean, it's my full-time job as far as my my overall income goes. It has been for a while, but I do have to do these other things on the side. I mean, alongside the landscaping stuff and what have you, I do living in London, I do session work and things for drums as well where I can. Obviously the band's quite busy, so I can't take on any tours, but I can do recording and things like that. And I think all four of us just try and do what we can, really. We're just not quite there yet, but hopefully, people keep buying our records, keep coming to our shows, and we can start making a proper living out of it. That's definitely would be the dream. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll ask one last question here. We've touched on a little bit. Right now, Wunderhorse is kind of standing on the edge of just a ton of shows in support of this new album over the next several months. I know you're opening for Fontaine's DC come November sometime. You've opened for them before. It's very exciting. What are you like
Yes.
most excited about coming up? And is there anything that you're maybe kind of anxious of?
Most excited for our headline tour in the
Mm,
UK, just because we naturally we sell the most amount of tickets there,
mm,
and think it's not far off selling out, and that's just around the corner. So I think that's gonna be great. I think that's probably what I'm
yeah.
most looking forward to. If I was going to be anxious about anything, I mean, yeah, we've got two, maybe three back-to-back tours coming up. It'll be the
Hmm.
October Fontaines one, and then possibly something else, which I can't disclose right now in case it doesn't come through. But I mean, I'm anxious about maybe how I'm going to feel in that kind of ninth, 10th, 12th week.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we've all been there before, but so that brings me a bit of anxiety. But we're a little better equipped now to deal with those things. I think we know our limits, and we also know how to take care of ourselves on the road a bit better. I think when you first start doing that kind of thing, you sort of end up getting quite stuck in every night, and
Yeah.
maybe running out of beans quite quickly. But I think now we can pace it a little better. So a little bit of anxiety, but not too much. Mostly excitement. Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad to hear it. And yeah, I think that's time. I just want to say thank you again so much for agreeing to do this. I really appreciate your time.
That's a pleasure.
Um, and best of luck with the show tonight and
Thanks
like
very much.
all the other stuff coming. So
Yeah, yeah. Thanks very much, man.
all
Well,
right.
yeah. Nice to meet you as well. Nice
Yeah,
to.
absolutely.
All right, man.
And there you have it. The show is about 50 minutes long with no opener and no encore. And honestly, I wouldn't have had it any other way. Actually, I probably would have because I really wanted to be there, but it was nice to get right into it, and they really didn't need an opener or an encore. They were the show. And if you want to hear more about the show in greater detail, head to youngsteryear.com for a full, heavily opinionated review written by yours truly. Wunderhorse headlines across the UK starting in October and tours Europe supporting Fontaine's DC through November before finally returning to North America at the end of January. Busy time for these guys, but deservedly so. Anyway, read my review, stay tuned for more good stuff to come, and thank you so much for listening.
And how to touch you, how to